877-42-LIBERTY. Call Liberty Law and find out how we can help you get the compensation you deserve. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. Liberty Law Group, trial attorneys you can trust.
Garage doors can break down or quit working at the worst times. At Doors Plus, they understand that a broken garage sometimes means repair and not replace. Sometimes, all you need to make your door like new again is a few bolts, realignment, or even new balance. Trust the pros at Doors Plus to handle your garage door repair the right way so you can get on with your busy schedule. Visit them online at doorsplusllc.com or give them a call at 402-590-5800.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services is here to help you protect things that are most important to you. Whether it's your home, your family, or your future, Jack Russell has the proven experience to get the job done while developing authentic relationships with you. Give Jack a call today at 402-421-9100. Again, that's 402-421-9100 and learn how you can excel in the complicated world of insurance. Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services, a trusted and well-respected representative since 1999.
Make the 2025 deer season your best yet. Come to the Nebraska Deer and Game Expo Friday, January 17th through Sunday, January 19th. Check out the hunting seminars, browse the hunting and outdoor exhibits, sign up for the 360 blind giveaway, compete in the Big Buck and Monster Shed contest, try the 3D shoot and more. Get tickets at the door. The Nebraska Deer and Game Expo, January 17th through the 19th at the Sandhills Global Event Center. 84th and Havelock in Lincoln, presented by Whitetail Properties Real Estate.
Hello, this is Mary Pat Waite. I've had the privilege of working with Lincoln families as their realtor for more than 31 years, and I'm so proud to be associated with MP Dodge Real Estate. For me, your transaction is unique in its own way. My experience allows me to bring you trusted care and a really great outcome. My NP Dodge family shares the same client focus.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222.
Men's health is not a game at Limitless Male. It's serious medicine. We're not a West Coast franchise with a one-size-fits-all approach. Every man is different. Some men require more or less testosterone to feel their best. At Limitless Male, we safely monitor your labs and symptoms along the way and adjust your treatment as needed. The only thing cookie cutter about Limitless Male, the incredible results men brag about. Schedule your free consult at limitlessmail.com.
Shouldn't the landscape around your house reflect the architecture as well as the interior? Whether it's new construction or breathing life into an outdated landscape, let the teams at Tailored Landscapes, Tailored Lights, and Tailored Life combine as your local source for outdoor living. Schedule a meeting with one of our designers who listen during our consultations and combine your preferences, plus our experience to give you a timeless, sustainable, photo shoot-worthy landscape. Call us at 402-432-2572. Find us on any social media or at www.tailoredlandscapes.com, because when you find one company, you find the benefit of three.
Are you a skilled mechanic looking for your next big opportunity? Constructors is hiring. We're looking for experienced mechanics to join our family-owned team. We offer competitive wages, great benefits, brand new service trucks, OEM-level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for our shop and multiple field technicians. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at constructorslincoln.com.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, welcome to Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome in. It is Ticket Weeknights on a Monday, leading off with the Husker Football Hour featuring Tom Shatel of the Omaha World Herald. I'm Austin Oerman. We'll get to Tom on our VIP line, brought to you by Aloe Fiber, where they understand the importance of exceptional service with local heart. It is not Aloe Fiber's fault that we were having issues with the phones, but Tom, I think we got it figured out. Phones are up. How are you doing tonight?
I'm here.
That is all we can ask. We appreciate you being here, as always, on Monday nights with us. Heck of a weekend of football just in general. Which games had your attention?
Well, let's see. We had Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and tonight. Is that with 5 nights in a row or 6?
Yeah, 5 in a row.
But all playoffs. And college, I tell you what, the college playoffs, they fit right in. The college playoff games don't seem unusual. They seem just right this time of year. And we're going to have a championship game next Monday, and that doesn't seem like it's too late. It seems like it's right on schedule. So I like the new playoff format a lot.
Is that a sign, because of how seamless it's been, how it just fits into the sports calendar? Is that a sign that maybe football on the college ranks could have gone here a little bit earlier? Or do you think the timing was right with the 4-team and now the 12-team playoff, and that's why it's being so successful?
Well, some people have been calling for this since probably the 97 Nebraska-Michigan year. Maybe a little later. But, yeah, there have been people calling for why not? Why aren't we going to a playoff? Why aren't we doing this in January? And it was always about academics. Mm-hmm. And it was about something else, and it was about something else. But it was never about anything. You just had to evolve. It just sort of naturally happened. I'm not sure why, but I think attitudes changed. But now with the NIL, and it's all about money now, and so there's no pretense, there's no reason to hide anything. It's just all about money. So why not? So, and the power brokers, I just finally figured out that it was the right thing to do, and the SEC was probably going to be okay without a playoff, but they saw it as a chance to get more money, and so did the Big Ten. So more money, and here we are.
This is just an off-the-cuff hypothetical. We know with Tom Osborne, right, how long it took for him taking over from Bob Devaney to get that first championship. Do you think that if there was a college football playoff in the 70s, 80s, 90s, Coach Osborne would have been on the board before that 94 season?
That's a great question. Because he was up there just about every year. I don't know that his late 70s teams would have. 78 was certainly good enough, but I think they, some of the teams back then, Oklahoma was on top every year pretty much. Alabama was good for the USC was on top. So if there had been a 14 playoff, I don't know that Nebraska would have made it every year. Certainly a 12 team that they would have. And God, back then there weren't 12 teams. I mean, there really weren't. There weren't a lot of teams going to bowl games. I mean, you had to be 8-3 to go to a bowl back then. You were 7-4, you weren't going. There weren't that many bowl games. So, but that's an interesting question. I mean, take the 82 team. The 82 team is a great example. They lost at Penn State. Very controversial loss.
Yeah, that sideline had a mind of its own. Just moved on that one.
Yeah, that was their only loss. They beat LSU in the Orange Bowl. If there had been another game, they could have got a rematch with the Nittany Lions. Who's to say they wouldn't have won that? So, 83 was like a playoff. January 1st, I believe 3 of the top 5 teams lost. I think UCLA beat Illinois in the Rose Bowl. Illinois was the top 5. Georgia beat Texas in the Cotton. I think Texas was number 2 behind Nebraska, I believe. Auburn either tied or lost the Sugar Bowl. And so you had Miami number 5, I think, going all the way up to number 1 after they beat them. So it was like everybody lost that day, and that enabled Miami to win the national title. So, what if there'd been a playoff in '83, would Osborne would he have settled for the tie, and then gone into the playoff? If he was number one, he wouldn't have lost. He probably would have gone in the playoff. So, very interesting question. Go back and do that. That's kind of like I thought about going back and trying to figure out what certain players back in the 80s and 90s would have got paid NIL. I gave up.
Fair enough. The only other team that stands out to me for the hypothetical playoff, Tom, would have been that 96 team in the middle of that run, right? You get a do-over for Arizona State in a playoff. I wonder how much damage that team could have done.
Well, they lost to Texas, the Big 12. That probably would have knocked them out. 93 is a good one.
Sure.
93 was undefeated, I believe, until they played Florida State. And so you're one loss in the Orange Bowl to Florida State. I guess that's the playoff, but that was a team that also was, if they'd have won that game, it would have been a national champion. So, of course, some people say if 93 had won it, then maybe 94 wouldn't have because they were so focused. But that's a great question. What about 2009 or 2010 Nebraska? Had they been able to beat, Texas or Oklahoma in the Big 12 title game? So, I don't know. That's a good one.
It's interesting. I'm kind of piqued the interest there with some thoughts from you, so that might be a research project for me coming up here. Let's take it back to present day here, Tom. The matchup in the national championship is going to be Notre Dame and Ohio State 1 week from tonight. When you look at those two rosters, those two coaching staffs, those two support systems, what is it that Nebraska can take away from how the college football playoff has gone in terms of the model for what Nebraska needs to shoot for if that's the level it wants to reach?
Well, Ohio State did not play in the Big Ten title game. So
right.
That's one thing. Now, Ohio State lost one game. Two games. They lost two. So they were able to get in. They were ranked high enough early, and they were able to lose two and still make it in. So Indiana lost one, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And Indiana they loaded up on veterans. They were a classic team that had a new coach, but they loaded up on for 1 year with all the transfers and veterans, and they had the good schedule to go with it. So they were able to do that, and I'm not sure what would have happened if, say, Alabama would have replaced SMU maybe if they hadn't lost Oklahoma. I don't know if Indiana, if they were close to not making it or not, but I think Nebraska's in the right league. I mean, you're going to get a lot of credit for playing in the Big Ten. You're going to be able to lose a couple games. I guess certainly they have to beat the right teams. But what I think is it's going to take an older quarterback to get it. I think that there's so many good older guys around now because of the transfer portal. The margin for error is got to be better for Nebraska, and they've got to have much better special teams. But I think that they can do it. I just don't know how the schedule falls the next few years. Certainly next year, Michigan, Penn State, USC, UCLA. I mean, can you get a year without those four? There. So, and I think Indiana certainly did. But they had to go to UCLA and they played Ohio State. So, and they played Michigan and they beat them at home. So, you have to get a little break with the schedule, and then you just got to go win a lot of games.
You look at that older quarterback piece, you think of Notre Dame the last handful of years. They go out, they get Sam Hartman from Wake Forest. They get Riley Leonard from Duke, guys who've played their fair share of football. And then on the Ohio State side of things, Tom, now that Will Howard's been bad, but he certainly hasn't put up the numbers that C.J. Stroud did, that Justin Fields did, even J.T. Barrett, right? Those guys didn't get a chance to play for college football national championship. Will Howard did, right? He just kind of guttied and grimied his way through it. I think that's a testament to Ohio State kind of learning who it was as the year goes on. But this is a matchup between a couple of big brand programs in college football, right? Two of the biggest in the sport between Notre Dame and Ohio State. Do you think it's good for college football on the national stage that it is two of these big name teams in the championship the first year of the 12-team playoff?
No, absolutely. It makes it better. It doesn't look like it's fluke. It doesn't look like the system, somebody kind of went through the system or got lucky. Or I think when you have brand names, I love brand names. I mean, whether it's any sport, I love having the best of the best up there. And Notre Dame, they certainly proved that they belong up there when they beat Georgia. So, some people like underdogs. The Final Four has had their share of underdogs over the years that they bring a certain charm to it. I'm not sure the playoff will ever have charm, but if you could get a Boise or somebody like that to go through, it seems to be harder in football when there's a lot more players involved and a lot more physicality, and depth becomes an issue. And the college basketball, you could ride a couple guys all the way, but harder to do in football. So, no, we love our brand names, and the only thing better would have been with this Big Ten versus SEC rivalry if it could have been one of Big Ten versus SEC, but that would have livened things up a little bit too. But Notre Dame always makes it. I don't know if it makes it better, but it's certainly college football is better when Notre Dame's up there. So it's fun, and there's something about for old boomers like me, there's something about those uniforms, and the big games. So I feel like this is a better Notre Dame team. I never felt like the Notre Dame team that played Alabama had any kind of a chance, But I feel like Marcus Freeman's got them, on a different level. So, and it's, I don't know if it's the portal. It doesn't seem like there's any super teams right now, and I wonder if that'll be the case going forward. That NIL having everybody spread out now, getting money, and the portal with guys leaving. That's going to mean that, the end of the so-called dynasties.
I think it's going to mean the end of dynasties. But, Tom, I've been a little confused by this talk about, now everyone can pay players. It's no surprise the SEC's dominance is coming to an end. The SEC is still a really good conference. There's still a lot of really good teams in there. I just think this year was kind of the perfect confluence of everything that leads us to the Big Ten versus independent matchup in the national championship instead of a Big Ten SEC matchup, which, to your point, would have been absolutely phenomenal given the arms race those two are in. Yeah. Look at Georgia, right? Still a good team, but Beck goes down, and he wasn't necessarily a huge game changer for them. Problems at receiver, good defense, but not dominant. Alabama, good team, talented team, super boomer bust in year one as Kalen DeBoer, really good coach, replaces maybe a Mount Rushmore coach in Nick Saban, right? There's going to be some regression there, we figured. Tennessee maybe not quite ready for the moment. Ole Miss still trying to figure out how to win big games. Yeah, it's notable for the Big Ten and for Northern schools that there's no SEC in the championship game, and only the fringe SEC team in Texas that made it to the Final Four. But I don't think the SEC is going anywhere. I think this was just the perfect year for there not to be an SEC team in the championship, and credit the Northern schools for taking advantage of it.
Well, it's a nice correction. That's what I'll call it. SEC is still very good. And as a league, nobody cares more about college football as a league. Certainly, Nebraska cares as much as anybody in the SEC. But as a league, they care more, I think. But everything was always made so over the top with the SEC. And
Right.
with the media people and the commentators and even now ESPN people, it's just over the top. Like, nobody's close. Nobody's as good as these guys. There's the SEC, and there's everybody else. And there's Lane Kiffin saying that, and it's just everybody. They just pour it on all the time, and it's just wrong. I mean, because Alabama was an all-time dynasty doesn't mean Ole Miss was that good. Doesn't mean Florida or A&M was that good or LSU. It doesn't mean any of those teams were anywhere near as good. But so they don't get to ride the coattails and be this, super conference just because one or two of their teams were better than everybody. That's college football, man. College football has never been about conferences. It's been about dynasties. Way back in the day, the 50s, it was Oklahoma and the Bud Wilkinson dynasty, and then before that, Army and Notre Dame. 60s, Bama was on top, and Nebraska was getting up there, and USC. 70s, USC, Bama, Nebraska, Oklahoma. Nebraska, Oklahoma were as good as were the two best programs in the country for years. Did that mean Oklahoma State and Missouri got to be no, they weren't. They were good, but the Big Eight was. We never talked about all this, the best conference, and it was always who are the best teams, the dynasties. Miami, Florida State for 10 years there, so were the top two. We weren't saying the Big East and the ACC were the best. It was Miami and Florida State. And then it became USC for a while, the Pete Carroll Trojans. Mm-hmm. And then Nick Saban went back from the Dolphins to Alabama, and boom. And that's right about the time that SEC started to get this idea that, because Florida and Urban Meyer, LSU and Saban, Les Miles got one. But it just became this, and two or three of our teams are winning. Auburn won one year. So it's just like, well, the whole league is this unbelievable thing, and it became this deal. And then I think social media kind of ruined it. I get tired of hearing about it. But so they're still good, but it's a welcome correction where we don't have to be over the top anymore. We can just say the SEC is really good, but so are some other people.
That is absolutely true. And I do think, the social media 24-hour cycle where we always need something to talk about. Hey, fill the programming with some propaganda, right? For the SEC, it's really what they've done. Let's go to break here. We'll finish up on the football discussion, then talk some hoops. I'm going to get back to the Husker Football Hour. We're talking with Tom Shatel of the Omaha World Herald when we get back from break.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
John Henry's has a brand new membership club to protect your entire home in one program. With a VIP and a deluxe option, we will help you find the plan that best fits your needs. Receive discounts on services and equipment, priority service, complimentary inspections, and so much more. Protect your home's plumbing, heating, cooling, and electrical systems all in one membership. Call John Henry's to learn more.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air.
And electrical.
Husker fans, this season, Nebraska is celebrating 50 years of Husker women's basketball, and they need you to help celebrate. You've shown up for women's hoops from the start and continue to prove that Nebraska fans really are the best in the nation. On Sunday, January 26th, the Huskers face Big Ten opponent Ohio State, and they're calling on all Husker fans to help pack PBA so they can celebrate 50 years of Husker women's hoops together. Get your tickets now and be a part of this historic season. For event and ticket information, go to huskers.com/tickets.
Perch Merch is your one-stop shop for all your printing and promotional needs in Lincoln, Nebraska. They specialize in screen printing, embroidery, vehicle wraps, window wraps, print collateral, promotional products, and signage. At Perch Merch, they are committed to delivering high-quality products and exceptional customer service. Their experienced team of designers and printing professionals will work with you every step of the way to ensure that your vision is realized. Call for a quote today at 402-217-5212 or go to perch-merch.com.
Step into healing at Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery. Our team of top-notch medical professionals turns pain into progress with state-of-the-art treatments and compassionate care. Visit prairieortho.com and discover the difference in quality orthopedic and plastic surgery services tailored to your unique needs. Your health matters, and Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery is dedicated to helping you thrive. Reach your full potential. Embrace a better tomorrow with Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
We'll see an increase in cloud cover tonight as we'll drop down to around 11 for the low. Colder tomorrow, only a high of around 23. Skies will become mainly sunny by the afternoon. Cloud cover returns tomorrow night, maybe a few light snow showers with a low of around 10. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Raising little ones is a big job, and you do your best to give them a good start every day. That means making sure they're well cared for while you're apart. You work hard, but it's not always easy to make ends meet. There may be help. Find out if you qualify for Nebraska's Child Care Tax Credit for working parents. You could be eligible for a credit of up to $2,000 per child on your next tax return. Learn more at nebraskachildcaretaxcredit.org. Brought to you by First 5 Nebraska and Nebraska Children and Families Foundation and aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
You can help fight deadly diseases like RSV and influenza while getting paid for your time. Velocity Clinical Research is now seeking clinical trial participants in your area. Participants can receive compensation for study-related time. No health insurance is needed to join. Find a study near you at velocitytrials.com. That's velocitytrials.com.
Ryan, with all this red and all these people around, I'm still not seeing the tailgate.
Todd Spidell, former body shop owner, terrible driver.
We're getting close. Now, did you know with 3 locations in Lincoln and hundreds of years of combined technician experience, we can get Husker fans back on the road even quicker and safer after their tailgate mishaps? Oh, Todd, turn left right here.
Left or right?
Left, right here.
Right?
Well, you wait for the tow truck. I'm getting a hot dog.
Well, I guess while I'm waiting. All right! Most recommended! Eustace Body Shop!
Woohoo! Dude, you should be on American Idol. You really think so? No.
Accidents happen, even to Husker fans. If it happens to you, call Eustace Body Shop, where our customers send their friends.
The most recommended Eustace Body Shop. That's who we are.
At Anderson Ford, we offer a 5-day return or exchange policy, so you can make sure the vehicle you choose is the best vehicle for you. No pressure. Right now, lease a 2024 Ford F-150 for $395 per month. Experience better at Anderson Ford. Stock number 1003769, $395 per month lease for 36 months with approved credit, 7,500 miles per year, $52.50 to assigning, no security deposit required. Tax, title, and license fees extra. Residency restrictions apply. Program subject to change. Must take new retail delivery from Anderson Auto Group by 11/30/24. See delivery details.
Back to the Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We are back on Ticket Weeknight, the Husker Football Hour. I'm Austin Oerman with you at 1040 O Street. We're headed back to our VIP line brought to you by Aloe Fiber. That's where they understand the importance of exceptional service with local heart. Tom Shatel of the Omaha World Herald is our guest. Tom, obviously Notre Dame, Ohio State, two really big names in college football. I was kind of surprised to see not that many matchups between Nebraska, Notre Dame, and Ohio State. Obviously more for the Huskers and the Buckeyes since Nebraska joined the conference. But I was shocked to see that Nebraska's only played Notre Dame 3 times since Tom Osborne took over as head coach, once in 73, and then the 2 games under Frank Solich. Why do you think that is, Tom?
Well, that's a good question. It wasn't because Nebraska didn't want to play good teams. You look at their non-conference schedules in the 70s and 80s, they played everybody. I think the Notre Dame game was the Orange Bowl, wasn't it?
Yes, in 73. Mm-hmm.
That was Devaney's last game, where Johnny Rogers played running back. He tore it up right after he won the Heisman. Eric Parseghian. I would coach that game for the Irish. I don't know. I don't know if Notre Dame always had everybody wanted to play them. They probably just never got together. I mean, you think Devaney, with all his connections, when he was AD, certainly being an Irishman, would have loved to have done that. But I don't know. That's a great question.
We'll be on air as the game is going on next week, Tom. So before we move on to hoops, who's your pick? Ohio State get it done? Notre Dame first time since the 80s.
Yeah, it's Notre Dame's got a lot of karma going. They've been playing really well, defense especially. But Ohio State has just been on a heater, and they were cooled off last Friday a little bit, but they still made the plays at the end. And number 33, he's something else. They're on a mission too. I don't. I'll probably go Ohio State just because I think they have more offensive firepower. Although the freshman Smith, they had a hard time finding them last week. But I'll go Buckeyes, but don't hold me to that.
Oh, don't worry. I will not hold you to that because guess what? We got a week till the game, and who knows what's going to happen there. I'm also picking Ohio State, not out of any, hard-hitting analysis or data dive or anything. But, Tom, you've been in this business longer than I have. You get more stuff right than I do. Sometimes I just like to win one. So I'm just rooting for Ohio State so I can get a prediction right for once. That's kind of where I'm at with it.
Well, you know what I'm kind of rooting for them is, I've never been a Big Ten fan, and I think the Big Ten is changing, all the time, and I think it would really be a weird thing for the old Big Ten people for Ohio State to lose to Michigan and then win the national title. I mean, usually that if you lose that game, you're not going to the Rose Bowl, and you're certainly not going to be in the national title picture. So, to me, it would be a great sign that a lot of these old Big Ten things don't matter anymore. It would take only a Big 8 guy would say that, but that's how I feel. I get tired of the Big Ten being the Big Ten and not wanting to win national titles. But we want to be the Big Ten more than we want to be number one. I think here's an example of, and I love what Nick Saban said. Like, okay, yeah, we lost to Auburn one year, but we still won the national title. So who cares? It's like that's how I feel about it. So, but that's never been the Big Ten way. Now you've got 4 SEC or 4 West Coasters in. It's a different world. The playoff is 12. There's every reason to believe it's going to expand soon. They're all kind of noise before the season. The Big Ten and SEC wanted to go to 14 because they want more spots. So it's going to expand again. Here's what I think would be interesting. Should Notre Dame join the Big Ten? I believe the answer is yes. Now, many would argue, well, they made the national title game. They don't need a conference. They can be independent. But I'm looking at the big picture, and that is a world where the Big Ten and SEC dominate and have their own world. They have their own game, their own perhaps playoff, or they are the two big entities, and there's everybody else. Well, everybody else would include Notre Dame. Does Notre Dame want to be with the big boys, the very top, or do they want to be, independent? And I think they wouldn't be joining the Big Ten. It isn't really the Big Ten anymore. It's this conglomerate. It's some kind of a corporation. And if Notre Dame ever joined, it would be they'd have to bring somebody else probably. It would be 20 schools. So that's not the Big Ten anymore. That's like the Big Ten times 2 with a lot of people who were never Big Ten. So I think, for Notre Dame, there'd be a lot to think about there, especially a world of revenue sharing where you could pick up a check, and certainly Notre Dame joining the Big Ten would enable the league to probably reach $100 million every year for every school. So Notre Dame would have a check for $100 million probably every year to spend as they like on players, or obviously $20 million for players, but $100 million is $100 million. So I think they should join the Big Ten for all kind of reasons, and they probably won't. But anyway, there's all kind of things going on.
There's
in my head.
No, there's a lot there, Tom, because I think the Notre Dame attitude fits exactly with that Big Ten attitude the Big 8U looks in and says, not a fan of. I think the Big Ten would like Notre Dame. I think the Big Ten feels pretty good about where it's at, though, and doesn't want to look desperate with Notre Dame. Part of me thinks Notre Dame getting this far is a good sign for them because, hey, guess what? They don't have to share their college football playoff revenue with Purdue, right? They get all the take-home. But to your point, could they get more if they joined the Big Ten? Even if they are sharing, it still works out to more money, which leads me to this then, Tom. Would it be wise for Notre Dame to try to break away from its scheduling agreement with the ACC and do that with the Big Ten? And would the Big Ten go for it, or would they make Notre Dame become a full member?
Well, when we say would so-and-so do this, we're talking about Fox and NBC.
Correct.
And NBC does Notre Dame games now. They also do the Big Ten. So, yes, there could be a scheduling alliance. But here's the thing. You're talking about Notre Dame and Purdue or Indiana. Well, Purdue and Indiana are making more every year than Notre Dame right now, off TV money. So, I think they could. And again, like I said, the NBC is a natural. They could keep that. There's a way for them to be in the Big Ten and have NBC do all their games and not change that. And USC is in the league now. They could, they play USC every year. So there's all kind of things that are going on there that I always say it's 2025. Anything goes. There's no reason why anything can't happen. So, but I think the fact that, the Oklahoma athletic director, I've known Joe, I could say we know for a long time. He told me few years ago, I said, why are you going to the SEC? Well, he said, it's a chess move toward the future and what the future is going to be. And that is the SEC and the Big Ten are getting more than everybody. And they're just the two big leagues. So I think Notre Dame, do you want to be in that world or don't you? And maybe this will reinvigorate the people who say Notre Dame matters and is going to be just fine without being in the league. But we don't know how revenue sharing is going to work. We don't know a lot of things. And I just think you want to be in one of these two leagues if you can. There's a bunch of people, everybody in the Big 12, everybody in the ACC would do anything to be in the Big 10 or SEC. And so I just think, I think they should join the Big 10. There's all kind of reasons why they should.
How much of the Big Ten and SEC's current position do you think was some of that chess while everyone else was playing checkers? And how much of it was, hey, things just worked out, they got a little lucky, a few strokes of luck? Like, how much of this was planned on the conference level that they took over, do you think?
Well, it's gone in waves, but I think the latest round of realignment was most certainly planned. It was most certainly a chess move. It was Kevin Warren's chess move. He seems to be playing checkers with the Bears now, but he was playing chess a few years ago when he brought in USC and UCLA and Oregon. The latest, of course, Oregon and Washington had to come with them. That was probably part of the chess. We'll wait, and maybe the two other cream of the crops will come in with them. And yes, the SEC, OU, Texas. They were already in Texas, but Texas is Texas, and Oklahoma is a strong ad. And these are, that's a TV domination, world domination. You can talk about all the, just the whole map. You lay out a map of the college football, and you want certain regions, certain countries, as you were. It's not like taking over Europe, but you know what I mean. It's and now that there's really nobody left except Notre Dame. I don't believe Florida State is wanted by either league. I don't believe Clemson is either. I think North Carolina would be next on the list. They're very coveted. They're not a strong ad for the football TV, but they're a strong ad. They're really a very hot commodity in terms of bringing in that region, that state. They're a basketball blue blood, and so on and so forth. So. Carolina would be probably right below Notre Dame on the list of the ones you wanted to add. Miami, there aren't many left that you have to have. So I guess the question is, will it be a Power 4 or a Power 2?
Mm-hmm.
Are they going to? But I guarantee you, Greg Sankey, the SEC, is not interested in sharing his money with anybody. So there's not going to be a big super conference with about 60 schools all sharing money. It will never be that. I don't think Tony Patini, the Big Ten, is anxious to do that either. Nobody in those leagues is anxious to share their money with, a bunch of schools from Kansas and Iowa and wherever. So, but. I hate to say that. I'm a Big 8 guy. That's just the world we live in. It's nuts. But anyway, yeah, I think it's a world of. I think the realignment's still out there. Not much, but Notre Dame's the next piece, and some would say that this says that it'll never happen. But I say if there's keep your eye on revenue sharing and the lords of NBC and the Fox and the ESPN, what do they want? And it's I don't know. I have a love-hate relationship with realignment. I love to talk about it. I hate what it's done to my life.
I don't think you are alone in that, Tom. Let's talk some basketball here. Well, we got another 8-10 minutes here on the show. Disappointing week for Husker men's basketball. Hot off a win over UCLA at home. They blow a 15-point lead on the road at Iowa and lead 3-2 before Purdue scores the vast majority of the remaining points in the game. Your takeaway from the Huskers in Iowa City and West Lafayette this week?
Yeah, 2 tough trips. There's no easy place in the Big Ten. Certainly, Iowa coming off a blowout loss. Hell, Nebraska was up 15. You can't really say Iowa was out to get them. Iowa was there for the absolute taking. But they let them get hot. Nebraska plays good defense, but these last 2 games, it wasn't good enough. It's got to be better. I know Iowa, those 2 guys, had unbelievable shots, but you can't let them do that. You got to stop them from doing that when they get hot some way. Same with the Boilers. They pounced on Nebraska, and their offense was unbelievable. But you got to find a way to not make that happen, and that's easier said than done. Just show that, I still believe in Nebraska. I still believe in the makeup of their team and what they can do, their strengths. I believe in Pinnacle Bank Arena. I believe this team's going to win a lot more games. But those were games that, they should have got a split of those 2 at least. And they've got to be their defense. They can't let teams do that. So, again, easier said than done. But, they just I'm not sure that they were ready to play Sunday. I don't know. It didn't look like. But they got hit hard early, and they left Purdue open too many times. So again, I think that they've still got a good team. They're going to win a lot of games. I like their defense still, but this is a week to shake those off and get back to the team that beat UCLA. And Sunday they go to Maryland. That's, I don't think, as hard as Iowa, or it's certainly not hard as going to Mackey. So there's some games out there to get, but this just defense can't. And they had some turnovers, and of course in Iowa they had the crazy, ridiculous double dribble that was not called. I can still see Hoiberg, waving his arms up and down, to the ref. Usually that'll get you a tee, but the ref didn't even see that probably. So I don't know what they're looking at, but it's, but yeah, you got to shake it off that they Iowa won, and maybe that was still in their heads going on Sunday, but they got a bunch of older guys. They got to shake it off, and they got to be better.
That's really what it comes down to, and that to me, Tom, is the somewhat disappointing part about how Sunday went. Yes, winning on the road is hard. Yes, winning on the road in the Big Ten is even harder than that. And then an 11 o'clock body clock tip-off, it's just another layer of things. But even the Big Ten broadcast said Nebraska's not a team led by freshmen. Where's the resilience in a game like this? And that's where I've had to adjust how I think I'm going to talk about this team moving forward. We hear dirty, grimy, gritty. We hear defensive identity. It still comes and goes to some degree, and that's fine, because really this is year 3 of Fred Hoiberg 2.0. Matt Painter's been at Purdue for going on 20 years. Fran McCaffrey's been at Iowa for almost 20 years. These are established coaches with an established system. Fred Hoiberg's still trying to get there. I think earlier in the year for me, looking at this Purdue team, I thought it was a better matchup for Nebraska than Nebraska showed on Sunday. Obviously, losing by 36 is not something anyone would have drawn up. It's not a good look. And I still think a team as veteran as this one, an off day should be they lose by 17 to 20 points, not by 36 or 37 like they have in 2 of their 3 road games. But I do think it's fair to say that, Fred Hoiberg is still learning this own defensive identity. So if a really darn good college coach is still learning what he wants his team to be, I think it's only fair for the players to have some of those lapses in those games where it comes and goes.
Yeah, they are a team that plays good team defense inside, especially, but they'll let you shoot the threes.
Mm-hmm.
And Mick Cronin couldn't stop crying enough about how bad his team shot that day. We were terrible. We just couldn't make anything. When they beat Creighton, they took away the inside Kalkbrenner, and they let him shoot. And they didn't. Again, they weren't good outside shooting that day. And Creighton has had issues with that all year. So, but guess what? Iowa would put them down, and for sure as hell Purdue put them down. So they kind of play with fire there a little bit on their 3-point defense. And more times than not, it's probably a safe bet that they got burned last week.
And they've made that gambit for really most of Fred Hoiberg's tenure, at least the last few years, is that they want to wall up, they want to protect the paint. If you shoot well from three, hey, so be it. You beat them that way. They'll take their chances with the math. At what point, Tom, do you think Nebraska needs to go to maybe a backup plan, right? It's like they're selling out to stop the run, and then a team burns them deep a couple times. Does Nebraska basketball have to go to the basketball equivalent of cover two? Or do you think this is a team that needs to stick with what it's doing and take its chances with the math throughout conference play?
I think they kind of are who they are, and I would, mid-season, mid-flight here, I know if you could change a lot, but they've also got to be better on offense. The Iowa game, they were really good, but then they kind of quit. Not quit as a team, but they didn't make as many shots. And, we've seen Bryce Williams come up and down a little bit. I mean, he made that incredible shot to get him into overtime. But he didn't have much, wasn't seen or heard from much on Sunday. And, so he's had a little, teams are going to go after him. Teams are going to see him as the guy. If you take away him, Nebraska has a problem. So, he's gonna see that. So, but I still like him. I still believe in him. I think the strategy in the Big Ten is probably the way that you don't want to get eaten up inside. A lot of teams can't shoot like that on the three. So, it's just this league you get hit in the mouth, and you get sometimes you get knocked down. You got to get back up. They're 12-4 now. Yeah. Okay, fine. Go on a run. Go get some more. And there'll be plenty of games left that are there's still. I wrote this for Jerry Palm is the CBS Sports bracketologist, and I guess that's an actual title. But he's the guy that does the bracket, and he's a big Purdue guy. He was at the game yesterday, and he's got Nebraska today as a 9 seed still. So for him to watch that game in person and say they're still a 9 seed, they're probably doing okay. I might add, Palm also had Creighton and UNO as in the play-in games. So I don't think we've ever had all three teams make the tournament together. Wouldn't that be something?
How about the Mavs, Tom? They're on a roll.
Yeah, they really are. And I keep an eye on the Frankie Fiddler, who's a great kid, Omaha kid. Was going to be UNO's all-time leading scorer this year if he'd stayed. Went to Michigan State. He got a big offer. That kind of money changes lives at that age. And so, but now he's on the bench. He's playing like 8 or 9 minutes a game. UNO has moved on. They added the guy, and they've got 4 guys now averaging double-figure points, and they only had 2 last year. So they're the same. They're scoring the same number of points, but they've got more options now, and they're fun. They've got a really fun offensive team, and They beat the top two contenders in the Summit League this week, UMKC Wednesday night, and then they beat their nemesis, South Dakota State, Saturday, with a bunch of Jackrabbit fans in the stands, and it was something.
I'm a big Chris Crutchfield guy too. I love Coach Crutch.
He's great. He's from Kentucky originally, came to UNO 90, 91 on a football scholarship, but he liked basketball, so he wanted to play basketball. He got to play both UNO, and he became a basketball coach after he played playing days. And he's been around a lot. He hooked up with Lon Kruger in Oklahoma. He recruited Trey Young. He and Trey Young are very close. And then he went to Oregon with Dana Altman. So he's been around the very top of the coaching profession, and he got the offer to come back. And he's a tough spot because, and they have to embrace their role now as they get guys and they develop them so other schools can come in and take them. It's kind of a bad way to go, but you have to embrace it, and that's what you sell to recruits. Come here, we'll develop you, and then you can go make money somewhere else. I mean, you might as well do it, right? You might as well say that. And there's a lot of talk, and it's not crazy that they would hook up with a school, maybe like Nebraska or maybe like Creighton, and say, send us your players, we'll develop them, and we'll give them back to you, like a true feeder program. And I don't think that's crazy to say, or that would not happen. So I think it could happen, but would Nebraska ever be interested in something like that? I don't know. But,
I think Nebraska should certainly be interested in getting some of the Omaha talent down to Lincoln.
Well, I know they should, and I'll go on forever. I'll go on a big rant talking about how Nebraska should have a higher profile in the city of Omaha. There's a majority of Omaha is red, and but Nebraska basketball is kind of hard to find their presence down here. I think they should play a game in Omaha every year, and that would mean every other year it would mean taking one of the Pinnacle Bank games away and putting them down here. But you get the same crowd, you get a lot of love, you get a lot of Omaha money, you get people fired up, and but I think that they should recruit the players in Omaha. Players around Nebraska now are there's a lot of Division I talent. So, I could go on forever.
I'm sure you will. I'm sure we will come back and circle back to this. We are at 7:00, Tom. We do got to get to other people on the air, unfortunately. I've enjoyed the hour as always. Appreciate it, Tom. Have a good rest of your week.
Thanks, Austin. See you.
It's Tom Shatel of the Omaha World Herald, our guest on our Aloe Fiber VIP line. Aloe Fiber is where they understand the importance of exceptional service with local heart. Starter Heyman Jewelers text line. Appreciate you guys and your thoughts. Ben, if Nebraska would have played Miami in '83 on a neutral field, what do you think would have happened? I'd probably take the Huskers in that one. Wet Blanket also says the 99 team, Frank Solich's best team, only lost the one game to Texas, would have fared well in the expanded college football playoff had it been around at that point. Love those thoughts. A couple other texts I'll get to here offline. But for Tom, I'm Austin. Appreciate you guys. Don't go anywhere. We got more Ticket Weeknights coming your way in just a moment.
Slay the holidays this year with a gift that'll really get them going. One that's built to win, like the new Honda CR-FR Motocrosser. One that's